brought up this idea that, yeah, you can't really use it for legal research, was the comment. I'm like, well, what do you mean you can't use it for legal research? Well, it's the fundamental difference between making things up and looking things up. You can't make up citations, even if it's a close approximation. You need it to be word exact. But I want to ask you, I want to
Well, I should give you some color on that. So back when I used to research and write, one of the things that we looked at is the difference between what we were teaching academically and then what was actually happening in the field. And one of the entertaining focus sessions that we did, we just followed business schools and some engineering schools and had to counsel with advisors, and we give them problems and say, do you think this is too easy, this is too hard? But in the discussion, asking about how they did the research, one of the tricky things with legal research is that hallucination isn't a new thing. So there's a whole movement was created based on a young man who created a fake set of statutes for Florida and posted it on the internet, and that was cited in an appellate court proceedings, basically taking a prohibition out of the statute and making it legal, right? And people were like, yep, this is citation. You could go to the website, and if you weren't thinking, like, you would think that this is actually what the law was. And then talking to these attorneys, they admitted that legal research databases make use of a lot of digesting and head notes and things like that. And someone admitted, which horrified me because it technically is malpractice, but they admitted that they couldn't find the language that they needed in a case, so they cited the head note, right, which is done by an editor saying this case did it, and they won, right? And so I think that the one thing I keep seeing AI exposing, and exposes in higher ed kind of is in a really painful way, is that there's lots of elements of our ordered society that we take for granted that everybody's doing everything in good faith, right? So in my world, it means students are studying and doing their assignments and not delegating it to paying someone else to do it, right? AI makes it a temptation to do that, but it doesn't mean that it's not already happening, right? So there is academic dishonesty out there, and so it just is in my mind, it's a greater temptation of trying to figure out. And I think the one thing that the I hate the term digital natives, but it's used in higher ed all the time. Digital natives disadvantage they have is that they don't understand how much work used to go into learning. So they don't understand what it was like when they couldn't look up on their Chromebook whenever they wanted to. They had to actually go to a physical library, right, to look those things up. And so I think that their sense of ease or frictionless learning puts them in an entitled category that may tempt them more and make them more likely to trust hallucination than others. And that's why you keep seeing on the news these people. So if you plotted the age of those people that have been busted for hallucinated references and in their citation, it's all over the map. It's I was figuring it was going to be old guys, right? And that used to be the case when they wouldn't use technology and get there's an ABA model rule for application of technology in the practice of law, and so it's actually a comment to the rule. But the and the examples are always these old guys who didn't know how to turn a computer on, or they didn't know how to use online research, so they missed new cases and things like that. But now you're seeing those mistakes made by people that just never appreciated the process of mastering a field and adding knowledge to that field that they've mastered. And I think that's one of the distinctions that I see in higher ed, where you're trying to apply AI as a tutor and as an instrument to help your understanding what you carry with you. It's a